Well, I'm in great company. Just some of the all-time legends. It's the only award really like this, one of the only ones in the world that just focuses on comedy.
Conan O'Brien certainly deserves to be among the class of past Mark Twain Prize for American Humour recipients like Whoopi Goldberg, Conan's good friend, the late Bob Newhart, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Carol Burnett, Steve Martin, and Eddie Murphy. And the timing is kind of great because, it comes right on the heels of Conan nailing his first gig as the Oscars host, and after it's announced he'll be back next year. But also the timing is not so great because there's not a lot of laughs happening at the Kennedy Center these days. As Trump dismissed the board members and canceled a lot of the inclusive programming, Hamilton announced that they're pulling out of their planned run of shows. And Shonda Rhimes, Issa Rae, and Rennie Fleming ended their association with the center because of Trump's implemented policies.
And I have no plans to go back to the Kennedy Center until the Kennedy Center becomes what it was supposed to be.
There was even some speculation as to who would even be willing to show up at the Kennedy Center to honor Conan.
I haven't been told officially who's here tonight, but I have an idea, and I'm awed. I'm awed by who's here.
Yeah, it turned out to be a pretty solid guest list. Thank goodness Conan is well liked.
I think they're wasting their time, but I'm thrilled.
Yeah, so Adam Sandler was there, Will Ferrell, Sarah Silverman, Bill Burr.
We all know he's funny. We all have to get dressed up and they hand him a statue. I don't understand these things, but I love him. So this is how much I love Conan.
Stephen Colbert doing Hot Ones, John Mulaney, Nikki Glaser.
He's just influenced so many people. I've always told him this, but I think he's the funniest person that's ever lived.
Kumail Nanjiani, Reggie Watts, and Tracy Morgan, who pointed out the very similar childhoods that he and Conan had.
We both watched a lot of TV and old movies when we were kids. I used to stand inside and watch television because I lived in the projects in the Bronx and I didn't want to get shot. Conan, on the other hand, would stay inside and watch TV because he wasn't allowed to go out in the sun.
And David Letterman, a former recipient of the Mark Twain Prize, was the one who gave it to Conan. And on stage, David called it the most entertaining gathering of the resistance ever.
One cannot invoke Twain without understanding who he was and what he stood for.
Now, the speech by the recipient is the, cornerstone of this night. And I've said that Julia Dreyfus's acceptance speech is the best acceptance speech I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, so the bar is very high for these speeches. The pressure was already on for Conan. But of course, there's this whole other element. Do you acknowledge the Trump of it all?
Twain hated bullies. He punched up, not down, and he deeply, deeply empathized with the weak. Twain...
Yeah, so Conan didn't mention Trump at all, but he did educate the crowd on Mark Twain's life.
Twain was allergic to hypocrisy and he loathed racism. Twain empathized with the powerless in America, former slaves struggling in Reconstruction, immigrant Chinese laborers in California, and European Jews fleeing anti-Semitism.
Noteworthy qualities that we don't always see in American figures.
Twain's remedy for ignorance about the world around us was to travel. Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness, and many of our people need it sorely on these accounts.
Yeah, so Conan's speech wasn't humorous at all, which is a bold move. It was clever. Yes, it was very, very clever. But I don't think I've ever seen Conan deliver such a serious monologue before.
Twain wrote, "Patriotism is supporting your country all of the time and your government when it deserves it." Now,
after simply quoting Mark Twain, Conan turned the spotlight on himself for the sake of comedy.
The comedy I have loved all my life. Comedy that is self-critical, deflating, and dedicated to the proposition that we are all flawed, absurd, and wallowing in the mud together.
Incredible speech by Conan, a risky one for a lot of reasons, but I'll say the most elementary one. You're accepting the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor, and you're not going to tell any jokes.
So I accept this award in the spirit of humility, stupidity, inanity, irrelevance, fear, self-doubt, and profound, unceasing silliness.
Now we have to wait till May 4th to see this whole shindig in its entirety. That's when it'll start streaming on Netflix. But yeah, what do you think of Conan's pointed, not pointed, education for the American public?
I thank you. It's the honor of a lifetime. Thank you so much.